up? This is Jeff, and David is here in spirit, by which I mean we'll be seeing his character quite frequently. This is a lot of this video is going to be focusing around the Harvest Festival, which actually has already concluded. There's sort of the Halloween event that happened in Monster Hunter. We saw a little bit of it in the last episode. So the way that the events work in Monster Hunter World is that you'll have a bunch of decorations, new music, as you can hear and see, new costumes for the handler, which are active at all times, which you can actually switch on and off during the event, and then you can pay real world money for if you would like to keep them. So the first taste is always free. As the events go on, all of the event quests that were active at one point or another, since they work on a schedule, are all available at the same time. So you can go back and complete things that you haven't completed before. There's this scary ghost kitty is providing a specific meal that is for the event, which honestly, it just seems like it's a different name. You can still get by just fine doing a attack bonus or chef's specialty. In addition to all of that, the shops are half off, so it's a great time to stock up if you want to get into, let's say, light bow gunning, something that requires a lot of ammunition. That, or if you just want to buy a bunch of bombs, which is also pretty good too. The bounties during an event are daily. Well, they're always daily, but what are usually weekly bounties actually refresh daily. You can get tickets for the event, which have, special. We can get the special armor, the harvest armor, the Mosgorl armor, which we had seen previously, which you can get as layered armor, which just means that you can apply the look without applying the actual stats, which, transmog for the Diablo folks out there. So we're going to be doing a few of the event quests, specifically the one that I really want to do, because not all of the event quests are on the PC version yet. There's many more that have been sort of unlocked for the PS4 version. But this is an event that is... actually dodged that. That's weird. It's called Every Hunter's Dream. And it'll give us tickets, blueprints, in order to make a weapon called the Wyvern Ignition, which is a great sword. It is also the best great sword. The Wyvern Ignition itself was the result of a sort of like a weapon design contest. Hence the name of the quest. The Hunter's Dream, to make your own, in this case, rocket-powered greatsword. I don't actually know who it was that did the design, but this was the design winner, and it was put into the game. It's, the greatsword looks great, and as alluded to by the name, the Wyvern Ignition, it has a rocket engine on it. I'm very excited to get that one. Since our characters don't, well, my character specifically, the one we're using for the event, and for the entire series, isn't at high rank yet. We don't have access to a lot of the more lucrative special events, just because that will happen after the main game, sort of post-game kind of thing. But before that, we can actually still do low-rank quests. So this was recorded earlier during the Harvest Festival, and the Hunter's Dream and the tickets that we can get from it, we can actually get all the tickets we need from doing the low-rank version in order to make the high-rank version, although we won't be able to get the rest of the materials that we'll need until later. But that's fine. We'll definitely do a video using greatswords. I'm going to see if I can convince David to learn to love the tackle. The actual goal itself, as you've most likely surmised, it's a crazy camera angle, is we're going to be fighting a Paolumu, which we've fought before. And technically, we're going to fight a new monster. Well, new monster for the series. Well, a new monster for this current Let's Play video series. In fact, the oldest monster for the series, Monster Hunter, the Rathalos. It's a red dragon, and it's been around since the first one. In the actual storyline, we won't face the Rathalos for a few more episodes. It's not that far away. And to be fair, you can just encounter the Rathalos and the other one that will be going later, the Diablos, which we've seen. You can encounter them in the wild expeditions and whatnot before they officially show up and get their cutscene introductions in the main game. Palumu fell asleep, which means Wyvern ignition. No, Wyvern fire. I've got greatsword on the brain. I think that the cat's in the way there. Just kind of. Cat'll be fine. Don't worry about the cat. I'm using the light bow gun for this fight, so I really enjoy the light bow gun. My goal is to. It's kind of. I don't know about that one. I do have a very particular light bow gun I'm going to be building up to. It's called the Karma. We haven't technically seen the monster yet. That will be the source of most of the parts for it. But this particular bow gun is on the right tree that will get there eventually. I'm very interested in getting a light bow gun that has lots and lots of recoil suppression and spread shots. Basically, I want a rapid firing shotgun. One down, one to go. Let's go fight the Rathalos. The Rathalos, has been in Monster Hunter since the very first one. It's one of the oldest monsters in that sense. The first flagship monster, of which each game has its, basically like the cover monster that is on the box, so to speak. Rathalos has been around forever and fights exactly the same way pretty much in every game. So at this point, very familiar with the Rathalos fighting style if you've played any previous Monster Hunter game. But even if you've only played Monster Hunter World, you'll probably be very familiar with a lot of its tricks because it is the example of the flying wyvern not subtype, but basically species type, skeleton you might say. So it flies around, it hates being flash bombed, which will knock it out of the sky, which is a great reason to have flash bombs with you. I'm gonna do some mines and shotguns. And the other attack that should be very familiar is, yes, the standing in place and doing one or two sort of 360 tail swipes. It is something that appears very frequently in a lot of the monsters. As soon as you sort of recognize it, it's easy to tell what sort of general base the particular monster is coming from. Rathalos also loves to roar and then do a jump back fire explosion, as you've seen here. Right now, David is trying to put out the flames. If we had any kind of earplugs, which is a armor skill, we would be able to avoid some or all of the effects of the roar. There are certain weapon types where earplugs are much more useful than others. Actually, in fact, greatsword is one of those because not having a monster roar interrupt your charge attacks is very useful. It can be very frustrating to get knocked out of a charge, especially since a greatsword is mostly a hold the button for a long time in order to do a massive amount of damage in one kind of swing weapon. Some more wyvern fire. Wyvern v wyvern. The Rathalos also has, well, it has fire blight. That is to say, it can set you on fire, which of course can be cured by a null berry, which you can, if you have wide range, you can cure other people with that have been set on fire remotely, which is nice. But also, if you just roll 3 times, it will put out the flames. The tail in the Rathalos and the Rathalos likes, like the Rathian, which is the female version of the same species. Explained earlier, it's kind of a Nidoran from the first Pokemon situation. They also have poison in their tails. The Rathian is a lot more focused on the poison aspect with its sort of backflip attack, which it loves to do. The Rathalos' version of that, which we've seen already, is really the roar and then jump back with Fireball. Another fairly popular move for the Flying Wyverns is the triple Fireball. Sometimes it's not a Fireball, frequently it is. Shoot shoots in the middle, shoots to the left, shoots to the right, that kind of situation. Through some dark magic, it is possible to iframe through some monster roars. I think some of them are too long for the base amount of invincibility frames that you have. But there are also armor skills that we'll get later that can improve that as well. Vision window specifically will improve the amount of iframes that you get by doing dodges. Although you can actually use shields to block or parry monster roars. Oh man, our kitties are very good at putting these monsters to sleep. Unfortunately, I don't have any more. I do have one mine. I think we'll use that. Yeah, took too long. Oh well, this is perfectly fine. Let's get some explosions. And the music will kick back in. A lot of the parts of the Rathalos can be broken, cut. Tail can be cut, naturally. The wings can be broken. You can also break its head. All these things will have various rewards. You can see that David has been poisoned. Oh, he has made it. It's a bad time to reload, but it's fine. The arena that we're fighting in is called the Special Arena. Well, it's the arena, not the Special Arena. To be more specific. It's confusing because the Special Arena is actually its own thing. I've been grabbed. No, this doesn't look pleasant. Thank you, Field Team Leader. Thank you for the video game. Thank you, Handler. Appreciate the tutorial message here at the 60-hour mark or so. Well, 60 hours for this particular version of the game anyways. The Special Arena is something that you can, when you capture a monster, you can fight them in the Special Arena. Those are considered optional missions. The Special Arena is both a concept and a location. This is just the regular arena. The regular arena is usually used for arena fights, which we've done a few of. But the arena is also used occasionally on optionals, which is what we're doing now. So it's just it's weird that both the arena and special location are concepts as well as locations. So being specific is helpful. You can tell that this is an optional and not an arena quest, just because you actually get things from carving the monsters. That, and of course, that we could go in with our own equipment. All those little bangs mean that it's a new monster. We'll look at that stuff later. The Rathalos armor is actually very good. Usually features weakness exploit, which is the ability to get up to 50% extra affinity when hitting weak points. Affinity, of course, is the Monster Hunter term for critical hit. Critical hit does 25% extra damage. So if you're hitting the monsters in their weak points, you get a lot of extra, much higher chance for more damage. It's a very good damage skill. The Rathalos set also has some good set bonuses on it, although the weakness exploit and all of that won't really matter until we get into high rank, which will happen in a few videos from now. Very excited to get there. It's the Master Craftsman blueprint. Guaranteed at least one, but the rest are sort of a low % chance that you'll get a few more. I think you only need 7 total in order to create both versions of the Wyvern Ignition. I'm not going to show all of that. We'll do that off screen. We'll do a few more optionals while we're here, enjoying the last bit of the Harvest Festival Halloween season. There we go. Wyvern Ignition Steel. Put that on the old wish list. Yes, you can see the rocket engine at the tip. For this particular day, one of the daily special bounties was to complete event quests, arena quests, challenge quests. Challenge quests specifically that we could actually do, there was the only one that was available for the particular daily, was the Vespoid infestation. Kind of go in a little bit casually here because the only thing we need to do is fight off a bunch of bugs. Because this is considered an arena, we have to choose predetermined sets. Dave is going to be going in with flash bombs and sword and shield, and I'll be jumping around with an insect glaive. Although, to be fair, I'll spend most of the time just on the ballistae, trying to shoot them down. The flash bomb and poison smoke strategy is actually much more efficient, which is what Dave is going to be going with here. This type of quest is much less frustrating than it is in previous versions of the game, where the enemies don't spawn fast enough and they take forever to die, and etc, etc, etc. This is not a particularly difficult mission. It's actually fairly quick, which is one of the reasons why, well, other than that it's available and we can do it, is the reason that we're doing it. But we'll also get a special armor out of this, which we'll at least look at. Probably won't use. It's got a nice look to it. The poison smoke strategy was the preferred method for dealing with Vespoids and their like in previous games. It was also the only way to guarantee that they wouldn't explode when they died. The entomologist perk on armor skill in this game can be used to do that. But it is also much easier because of the slinger in order to do low enough amounts of damage that Vespoids are not instantly incinerated. Also, all of those pings is each time a new one is spotted. I like just doing the third-person shooter route. The Puke is entirely a distraction in this case. As you can imagine, this with two people goes even faster. I don't think I've ever used a boomerang in this game. Boomerangs were definitely more of a thing in Generations Ultimate, which is it was the long-range weapon that the Palico Prowlers could use. We'll ignore my, well, the ballista's gone, so it doesn't matter. We'll ignore my excellent aim. And we're done. Even got an A rank. That's nice. Spring Insect Field Guides indicates that, yes, this actually was originally from a sort of the Spring Festival, spring event. But again, the events come back around whenever a new, like, official seasonal event happens. Let's take a gander. There's the Queen Beetle. This is the set that can be made from the sort of insect guides. The Ladybug set. The Queen Beetle is actually... and the Ladybug set is a result of not that particular quest we did, although I think that you can get the... Is it the layered armor version? No, there's a thing you can get for that, I forget. But by getting a hornfly, a great hornfly is a random reward from doing your farm, the botanical garden, botanical research center. You'll occasionally get great hornflies, and which can be made into that adorable ladybug set. Although we'll get the ladybug weapon because it's a paralysis hammer. There we go. It's already on our little kitty there. If you're wondering what the Rathalos armor looks like, we'll check that out later when we actually fight the Rathalos in the main campaign. doing a few more optional quests just while we're here. As you can see, David is equipped with the Wyvern Ignition and the Kulu-Yaku head, which is just great. We love the... There's a bunch of silly hats in this game. The Wiggler is preferred. The Wiggler is more adorable, plus it has the wide range ability on it. But we're going to be doing this egg quest. You have to get 2 eggs, which is what I'd recommended to do with someone else. As long as you have the Pro Transporter ability, you'll be able to run fastly. Run and slide without any trouble. Your movement speed is pretty much halved. Something like that. If you don't have the Pro Transporter ability, which in this game, fortunately, is just a single point on the Kulu Vambraces, which are very easy to get. Just beat up one chicken boy and turn its face into gloves, and then there you go. Can run quickly through these things. The egg quests with their ridiculous animations is, as mentioned in previous videos, a Monster Hunter thing. Just kind of a thing that's left over. Probably be fine to just get rid of these entirely. At least personally, I don't feel like they don't add that much, considering all of the, relatively speaking, all of the new and unique content that is made for them. That is to say, like, you know, specific UI for the delivery, specific animations for, you know, recovering the eggs and walking around with the eggs, breaking the eggs when they fall out of your hands, all of this kind of stuff. It's there because it's in previous games, but I'm not entirely convinced it needs to stick around. At least not without some sort of, I don't know, some sort of interesting twist. At the moment, it's just a walk from point to point. It was always that, but at least now it's not as frustrating. Persistent Pests is a very simple quest. All we're going to be doing is killing a few Hornitars. But this will help our botanical research center. So this is one of these side quests for the gardeners, the biologists.
The great sword is a powerful.
You can see now that David has finally used the attack button. We'll see if we can get like a double greatsword time, double greatsword fun having times in one of these videos. I do have a lot of fun with the Wyvern Ignition. It was my sort of, it was the reason that I got into the greatsword type. That and the Jagras Hacker, which is also pretty good, all things considered. Hopefully we'll do a little showcase on that coming up soon. There'll be a few videos from now at least. It's very satisfying to shoulder tackle your way through an attack and get a true charge slash on some giant monster's head. It's definitely one of the... it's definitely the slowest weapon, though. And that's all we need. Those Hornitars are very dead. And that's it for the Harvest Festival Monster Hunter World. These particular seasonal events come around every now and then. For the PS4, there was already a spring festival, summer festival, seasonal. I think there'll probably be a winter one, or a solstice one, or a New Year's one. I don't know. It's one of those things. As more events get added to the PC version and the content parity becomes parity. Anyways, next time on Let's Play Monster Hunter World, we will be going and fighting...
Wait, I'm going to.
A big red doggy. Down at the bottom of the Rotten Vale. We will continue our search for Zorobagdros. It will actually be there will be plot happening.
You figured it out too, haven't you?
And we have just a few more missions before we actually catch up with Zorobagdros, and we can finish off the second major act of the game. I'd say the first major act was probably getting to Zorobagdros' first encounter. Second major act, we'll catch up and finish the Zorobagdros portion of the game. Very excited to get to that, because then we can get to high rank and we can get to the more complicated monsters, which we still have plenty of monsters to see yet, which is nice. Also, they've added a bunch of monsters after the game is released that are really only accessible in high rank anyways, so there will be unrelated to the main plot, but they're just kind of there because, I mean, Monster Hunter is a game where you hunt monsters. Also, as just a fun little preview, next time we'll have another special guest.
I know we've reached the bottom.
So I'll just leave it at that. If you enjoy this content and you would like to help support the Jeff and David Show, you can do so by supporting us on Patreon, where you give a certain amount of money each month, which would be awesome. That's certainly the most reliable way that we can have an income. If you would like to just give a certain amount one time, like a tip, we have a PayPal address that you can send it to. And of course, if you can do the normal YouTube things, liking and commenting and subscribing, that would be fantastic. We have to. So that's the algorithm, the almighty algorithm. Well, this is the end of the video, so I have to whisper for some reason the name of the game. Gotta stay on brand. Monster Hunter World.